So let's take you through the starting order for Heat 2, Junior Rotax C versus D. And the starting grid is as follows. Boris Maximov and Timo Jungling on the front row of the grid, with Noah Janssen and Tom Sörle on row 2. Cameron Nelson and Oliver Sander rounding out the top 3 rows, with Thomas Behrman and Oliver Kerg rounding out the top 4 rows. Alberto Kiko Fracassi and Dominic Kakkonen round out the top 10. Santeri Laittonen and Hans Markus Narusk round out the top 12 ahead of Julian Kovacevic, Sky Parker, Thomas Rudokas, Olivier Jonkers, Santiago Medina and Kenan Bartenstein. Now, if anyone might remember that Boris Maximov and Tom Sörle were battling tooth and nail for the Minimax crown in the Euro Trophy last year, it went down to the wire at the season finale for them at Marienburg, where Maximov would win by just 1 point after the races had been completed. So we see a little bit of that rivalry re-emerge out on track. Once again with this one, it will be, so for Minimax, it will be 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Junior Rotax, 7 minutes plus an additional lap for all their respective heats. And then DD2 and DD2 Masters plus Senior Rotax will be 10 minutes plus an additional lap. So we are very soon about to get underway with our second Junior Rotax heat. Revs rise, are we ready, are we steady? Full start, first one of the day. So another formation lap to take place to get the drivers settled, ready. So that's the first one out of the races so far. So the drivers now will have to reset, refocus, and get themselves ready to go racing once again. So, second time to try into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Second time. We are lights out and underway. 2-3 abreast at certain points as they hurtle their way through. Couple of drivers running wide. More notably, Timo Jungling in the 265 from Dan Holland Racing. But Boris Maximov has got the initial lead. Noah Janssen, the 231 from Germany, now up into second position. But it's all carambolaging a little bit further behind, side by side for third and fourth position, as they go over the crest of the hill and then down in towards turns 8, 9, 10 and 11. So in third position is Cameron Nelson. That could very soon change as Thomas Behrman gets through, and a bit of argy-bargy there between Cameron Nelson and Timo Jungling, who takes a look over his right shoulder and now looks to move up the inside. That's through. Oh, that was nearly 2 for the price of 1 there for Timo Jungling. Managed to get through on Cameron Nelson. But that was very, very close indeed. So at the moment, leading the way, it's Boris Maximov, who has just under 3.5 tenths of a second advantage over Noah Janssen. Thomas Behrman rounding out the top three. Timo Jungling now in fourth. Cameron Nelson. And then there is also Alberto Kiko Fracassi, the youngster from Italy. Oliver Sander rounds out the top seven ahead of Santeri Laitanen. Tom Selila down in ninth, ahead of Domi Kakkonen from Finland. But Maximov trying to pull away early doors as he makes his way towards the hairpin at turn number 12. And it's the double right here at turns 13 and 14. And then it's a little bit more of a sort of a sweeper corner. So you're basically nigh on doing a triple apex at one point because there is a slight kink down the back straight away. But Maximov continues to lead proceedings. Gap last time around was nearly 3.5 tenths of a second. Now that further extends to half a second, and Thomas Behrman has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 4.689, and he is just over 8 tenths behind Boris Maximov. And was quite a considerable amount quicker than Noah Janssen, to the tune of half a second, I might add. Behrman is trying to close on in. I'm sure that Noah Janssen will probably be looking either over left or right, the respective left or right shoulder. There we are, there's the top three. Behrman is closing in. Jungling looks over the left shoulder. There's Nelson and also Alberto Kiko Fracassi. Behrman now trying to look for an opportunity to get through, and he does, up the inside of Janssen, through into turn 16. Gets through for second position. So top three covered by half a second as we go on to lap number 4 of the race. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when will Thomas Behrman get through on Boris Maximov. He's teeing up for it in the right now because they've just come out of turn 7, over the crest through turn 8, down the hill they go into 9. Behrman is literally right up the back bumper of Boris Maximov into turns 10 and 11 and could get a better run. Maximov drifts wide, looks over his left shoulder. There comes Behrman up the inside, through on Maximov to now take the race lead on lap number 4 through turn 12. Thomas, the younger brother of Oliver Behrman, who's currently testing at the moment for FIA Formula 2. Himself, Oliver also has shown great success in multiple karting championships, both internationally and domestic, in karting. So 2.5 minutes to go. I don't think the battle's quite over yet, because it's one thing to be the hunted, it's another thing altogether different when you are the hunter. So 2 minutes and 15 seconds plus an additional lap. Thomas Behrman leading the way. But Maximov looks to be closer. Yep, just under 1.5 tenths, and now he's looking for the lead. Up the inside through turn 1, using the slipstream to great effect was Boris Maximov. And now Behrman up the inside, gets through, retakes the lead, and now the floodgates are opened. Janssen gets past through turn 7 by Timo Jungling, and now he's probably going to lose another position, this time to Cameron Nelson. So Janssen drops from 3rd to 5th at the drop of a hat, and through 2 corners. Make that 3 places because Fracassi's through too. Always about taking the opportunities when they present themselves, and that's exactly what happened. A bit further back, that was Kiran Bartenstein up the inside of Nemanja Jovanovic through turn number 16. We now go on to the penultimate lap, and Thomas Behrmann still leads by a fraction, just over 0.2 of a second, as Noah Janssen trying to get through on Alberto Kiko Fracassi, going through up the hill. Now they're going to go into the left-hander at turn 4, now turn 5, or turns 4 and 5, then into 6. Now we're going through turn 8 with the race leader, Thomas Behrmann. He's got a fairly decent advantage at the moment. A little bit more switching of positions, most notably between Alberto Kiko Fracassi and Noah Janssen. Fracassi back up into 5th place. As the timer has expired, we'll get the final lap board very shortly for this race. A bit further back. Looks to be possibly Tom Sörler and Oliver Sander going into battle for position, which would be 7th. Last lap board is now out this time. And Thomas Behrmann has about 1,300 metres still to negotiate to see the checkered flag first and take the victory. Boris Maximov bumps over the curbs, nearly unsettles the back end of the Tony Kart chassis. It's underneath him. Could have opened the door for Timo Jungling in 3rd place. Down the hill they go once again. Just a few more corners after this, straight away in the middle part of the track. Behrmann takes a look over the left shoulder, and Jungling sends it up the inside of Maximov and gets a tap from behind, and then Maximov gets through, going into the next right-hander, but a switchback. Brilliantly timed there by Timo Jungling. And now he's saying, come on, let's get after the guy in front, and then he gets another tap from behind. But it's not going to be enough. Jungling a little bit frustrated, I fear, there. And now there's going to be more switching between the pair of them, as Behrmann's going to take the race victory. Maximov is going to take 2nd. Jungling takes 3rd. And I think that, yeah, there's no love lost there between Boris Maximov and Timo Jungling on that particular occasion. You can see the gesticulation from Jungling coming out of turn number 13. But Thomas Behrmann takes the race victory by 0.9 of a second. Ahead of Boris Maximov, with Timo Jungling completing the top 3. Cameron Nelson and Alberto Kiko Fracassi complete the top 5 positions, with Noah Janssen in 6th, Santeri Laitonen from Finland in 7th, ahead of Oliver Sander, Tom Sörler and Domi Kakkonen rounding out the top 10. Kiran Bartenstein making his way up to 11th towards the end of the race, ahead of Sky Parker. Julian Kovacevic in 13th. So Olivier Jonkers, Oliver Kerg, Hans Marcus Narusk. Santiago Medina, one of a handful of Colombians that have ventured over to Campillos, so good to have some South American representation, not just the Colombians as well. We've got Peru and Paraguay as well here with us this weekend. Thomas Rudokas, still remaining in juniors, rounding out the 18-strong field at the end of 8 laps of racing. So we got our first full start of the day, but under the second time of asking, the second heat for the juniors duly complied, and we were into the tram lines and off and underway when the lights went out. It was Boris Maximov that would lead the field, as Timo Jungling went a little bit wide going into turn 1, nearly making it 3 abreast, going up the hill for the opening lap. Timo Jungling and also the 241 of teammate Cameron Nelson would be nearly at each other's side pods, and then Jungling nearly got 2 for the price of 1 going into turn 16 in the opening 3 laps. But then Thomas Behrman was the man on the move, the driver pushing forward. And with this nice clean overtake on Germany's Noah Janssen, through into turn number 16, and then managed to grab the lead off of Boris Maximov with a handful of laps remaining through turn number 12 at the hairpin. But Maximov would strike back and get through on the youngster from the United Kingdom through turn 1. But it would still be the fact that the story was very much undecided until this move here from Behrman towards the end of the race meant that he would capitalise. But then Timo Jungling's launch up the inside of Noah Janssen, followed by Dan Holland Racing teammate Cameron Nelson, would then come to the fore. Timo Jungling would then do to Maximov what Behrman had done a little bit earlier, and then got a tap from behind for his troubles. And they were still squabbling as Behrman came out of the final corner and took the checkered flag to win Heat 2.